Well, there are only a handful of villains that stand out, you know, in the Iron Man rogue gallery. Crimson Dynamo and the Mandarin, you know, being like the main two. And both of them sort of iconic Cold War figures, you know. The Red Star, I think, was another one. Black Widow, you know, was, I think, introduced in Iron Man. So there was this kind of Cold War demonology going on. You know, all the foreigners were bad and all the Americans were good. Well, of all of them, I think the Mandarin, you know, spoke to me the most because he was sort of like the anti-Stark. Tony is, as the richest person in the Marvel universe, you can almost imagine him as sort of like the linchpin, you know, that draws everybody else together. It was his mansion where the Avengers started the Avengers. I mean, he's the guy who started the Avengers, in effect, by providing them a place to stay. You know, here you are.
The Avengers, very early on, or reasonably early on, particularly when it came to Cap and Thor, these guys learned who was behind the masks or helmets. And that kind of gave Tony a circle of peers, a circle of people that he could relate to on his own level, not necessarily intellectually or scientifically.
S.H.I.E.L.D., I always felt that that S.H.I.E.L.D. was a Tony Stark creation in some sense, that he's the guy who put it together, you know, or made it possible. He certainly must have designed the helicarrier, you know, and probably sold it to them, you know, and Stark Industries was the primary supplier of weapon technology to the American government, you know, for many years.
Tony's involvement in S.H.I.E.L.D. goes right back to the beginning. You read the very first Nick Fury story, Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. story, and Tony's there. Tony's already part of S.H.I.E.L.D. He's designed all of their tech and stuff and all their advanced weapons. And all through the really early issues of S.H.I.E.L.D., he kept coming back into the strip, just as Tony Stark, inventor. And every once in a while, they drop maybe a little allusion to Iron Man. But if you weren't reading Iron Man, he was just a guy in Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D.
George Tuska is one of the unsung heroes. Because his work was cartoony, in a sense, at a time when realistic art was in demand in comics, people didn't take his work as seriously as they probably ought to. He could break a story down as well as any of the best comic book storytellers. And he also drew a very dynamic Iron Man. You know, there was a weight and a solidity to his version of Iron Man that I really liked.